IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast, where we talk about, science, pop culture and other things that interest us, I suppose. With me is Jishnu Guha. How do you do, Jugs?
Wow, that was so civilized.
Why?
I mean, I was expecting some
stuff. Like Rude Dog. Did you ever watch that comic cartoon Rude Dog?
No, that sounds
horrible. He was a dog who was rude, but like rude in like a cool way. And the theme song was like, Rude Dog.
Like
so basically he was
Triumph?
like no, not exactly, not like an insult comic dog. He was rude in like a radical way. That's how rude was used on the show. He was like the ringleader of a gang of dogs. It was kind of like Top Cat, but like, you know how Top Cat is rude in the sense that he's cool?
Like Raphael is also rude but cool.
Yes.
Give him a break.
Raphael is rude but cool.
Give him
a break. Are you sure it's not Raphael is crude but cool? And then he's like so vulgar.
We should know this because
we've
been playing this song quite a bit.
Yeah, but you say anything.
I don't say. That's Tejas's line. I don't sing it.
Don't you say give me a break?
I say give me a break, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I don't know what he says
But do you always say give me a break, or do you just like improv it up sometimes?
I have to, depending on what line he says, because half the time we mix up those lines. Yeah. I was like, well, what's my cue? I don't know.
This is what we've been, like, it is one of the, it's one of the songs we play in our set list of TV show and cartoon and movie songs, I suppose, covers, which we've been doing at some Comic-Cons and here and there every once in a while. I will say, it's not as popular as I thought, but we still keep doing it for us.
We do it for us.
It's a one for us situation. Like, we start a Scooby-Doo and everyone's like, oh my god, it's Scooby-Doo. Start Ninja Turtles and they're like, yeah, I guess I remember that.
So sad.
It is unfortunate because clearly it's my favorite song we play. I've never heard you, my one complaint with you, Jigs, is that you never do the Kawabanga at the end that Michelangelo does.
At the end?
Yeah.
At the end of the song, you do the Kawabanga?
Not at the end of the song, when Michelangelo is introduced.
Party!
As a party dude.
I do that. He says party.
Oh, he says party? He doesn't say Kawabanga?
No, Kawabanga.
Huh. I did not realize that.
But hey, there are 3 mics. If you want to throw in a Kawabanga, nobody's going to complain if you just throw in a Kawabanga.
I might just throw in a Kawabanga. But do you do party?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Raphael is cool, but rude, get wrecked. Michelangelo is a party dude. Party!
Ah. I think I've been missing it, probably because I'm too focused on like whatever I'm doing, which is...
Whatever it is you're doing up there.
Whatever it is I'm doing up there. Anyway, so this is an episode where we're going to throw out some... we did this as a segment a couple of weeks back where Tejas and I talked about stuff we're generally consuming. It's similar to a segment Pop Culture Happy Hour does, I suppose, which is called What's Making Us Happy This Week. This is essentially what's making us happy this month, I suppose. We're going to do this now as its own episode just because we think it's cool to tell people what we've been up to. So Jigs, give me your pop culture recommendations. What you been up to? What you been watching, reading, playing... shuffling.
I'm gonna give our dear listeners a leg up on the competition with regard to keeping up with what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We will soon be talking about
what's the competition?
Some animated movies that we've recently been watching.
Sure.
So considering we're gonna attempt to dissect a couple of them in one episode, I'll give our listeners a leg up on what I just watched for a yet to be recorded episode. Highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called. It was one of the Oscar picks for best animated film.
Mm-hmm.
It's called. Jesus, what the hell is it called? If I
lost my body.
I lost my body.
Yes.
I lost my body. Yeah, I lost my body.
I saw your soul leave your body in that moment.
Just
like you just completely blanked and had this panic-stricken look on your face, like, oh my god, what just happened?
It's not called The Hand movie, but it's about a hand. It's a French movie, dubbed in English, and it's
dubbed, huh? Did you not watch it with the subtitles?
No, the just the gen auto default whatever play function is with English dubs.
I don't like watching dubs, but it is with people in it, so
yeah.
But I suppose it's okay with animated
maybe
movies.
It's not dubbed because it didn't feel out of place. Like I think they were actually speaking in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's a French-made movie.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, it's a good one. We're going to talk about this amongst several others coming up soon. So do watch that. I can't say much about it because we're going to do a whole episode on it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to recommend like other stuff you've been up to in general and why.
I'll tell you other things.
So tell us why people should watch it without diving into the plot maybe too much.
breath of fresh air with regard to how simple it is, yet it is a feature-length movie. It's about an hour 20.
Okay.
So it's not too long either. It's been a while since I've seen a less than 90-minute movie. And it's very insular. I guess it is a romantic movie because it's about a boy chasing a girl. But it's done in this bizarre way because it's very few characters. Just young boy, very empathetic, little down on his luck pizza delivery guy, chasing after this girl that he somehow falls for, even though he never sees her. She's one of his deliveries, and just talks to her on the intercom. And they have a quick scene over the intercom, and he doesn't end up delivering the pizza.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, but the flip is the X factor in the thing is that the B story is about a hand, genuinely like a hand from the Addams Family thing.
Right.
Like literally just a hand.
Like the thing.
That is, yep, it's sentient and it just walks around. It doesn't say anything. So that's another thing. Very little dialogue in this movie. It's very artsy-fartsy.
Because one of the key characters doesn't have a mouth.
Yep. Yet, you empathize the hell out of it. It's beautifully done. It looks amazing. It's that low frame rate vibe, so it's kind of like glitchy animation. Really nice. I felt like I was watching... remember we did an episode about Love, Sex and Robots? So is that what it's called? Yeah. This felt like...
The Netflix anthology show.
This felt like a properly fleshed out story from that piece, or that series.
I think it's cool that a couple of the animated category has typically had a few more foreign nominees in it, and especially a lot of French stuff. But now with like Parasite winning as well, I think it's cool that completely foreign cinema is getting a bit of a mainstream push. It's always been like a cinephile thing. But yeah, it's nice. And you've enjoyed...
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
A movie that we're going to get into more, I suppose, a little later.
I can't spoil anything right now, but it was great.
Sure. All right. So that's your record.
You give me one.
Let me give you... So, well, part of the reason we do this is to talk about stuff that we might not necessarily talk about otherwise. Like basically dive into some more esoteric pop culture. So I'm not immediately going to go with a movie, but a YouTube channel that I'm a big fan of.
If it's got marbles in it, I'm going to scream.
I've told you about Gel's Marbles Runs, but no, I don't watch that too frequently, but I do find it very fascinating. But long-time listeners will remember that we've done some episodes on pure science and like science education and science entertainment, where we talk about stuff like your Bill Nyes and your Carl Sagans and whatnot, right? Well, along with science, mathematics is one of... I was never particularly great at it in school. Like, I was decent at it as a subject. Not like a maths genius, like I wasn't getting 100 out of 100. I'm getting like the 80s, 90s. But the subject has always fascinated me. Maths and physics, I would say. So there is this YouTube channel that I would highly encourage people to check out called Numberphile, which is, for multiple reasons that I will now enumerate, that's a math pun for you, is a very, very good YouTube channel. So essentially it's run by this guy called Brady Haran. He's a New Zealander, I believe, a Kiwi. But settled in the UK, and possibly like a decade ago or so, he started making videos with math professors. Okay. So these are like legitimate, almost all of them are professors or professional mathematicians. And he would make these fairly short videos, like the average video length for any of these is like 5 minutes to sometimes they go into like 10 minutes or half an hour. But they talk about one particular aspect or interesting fact or theorem in mathematics. And then they get into like why it's so fascinating. Now, the first reason I think I really enjoy it is just watching people who are really good at what they do and really, really love it is honestly one of the best things you can see anywhere in the world ever.
Yeah.
Like, so these are people who are genuinely like, these are PhDs in pure mathematics. And pure mathematics is like a really weird field. It's not like your engineering and your physics where you can, like, essentially you study pure mathematics, you're a mathematician. It's like a very academic field. So these people talking with like a huge depth of knowledge, but also fascination is incredible to me. And like a lot of the times the things they get into aren't necessarily like physics-like stuff, for example, like where you can apply it to the real world. Okay, like if I watch a video on relativity, which is another like thing I do watch, like, so I'm not knocking it, but I'm saying when they talk about like, and this is how our universe works, you're like, right, I feel like I understand something about our world. Whereas on Numberphile, there's a fair amount of that, But there's also just a lot of like pure mathematics talk where, like, for example, one of the videos I was watching literally yesterday was about finding loops of recurring sequences within the infinite sequence of pi. Fascinating. And of no real practical application.
Right.
These are like a lot of these things are essentially just about like math games that people play. Sure. So like a lot of the time it's about trying to figure out relationships between numbers or like essentially things that you've defined within mathematics and then trying to figure it out. So this particular one, the game essentially, or like the theorem was pi is an infinite sequence, right? It's an irrational number that never ends. And in fact, like the theory is because it's infinity, you will at some point find every possible sequence of numbers in there. So, pi, which starts 3.142 and then goes on, they number each of the digits post the decimal point. Wow, I'm really getting into this. I didn't think I was going to be here.
I'm stunned, but go for it.
So past the decimal point, they go like, okay, first digit, second digit, third digit. And the first digit and second digit and third digit, the positions are basically 1, 4, 2, right? Yeah. So in the first position, you have 1. Yeah. Second position, you have 4. Yeah. Third position, you have 2. Yeah. This will all be really dumb if I've gotten the value of pi wrong to just 3 decimal points. Anyway, but the thing they were trying to figure out is at what point does the position and the digit in that position match. So it happens at 1, obviously, because 3.1, first position, 1. It only happens like 3 times or so. And technically, there should be infinite amounts of them.
Yeah.
But they put this into like a computer program, or like mathematicians have been just like playing this game for years where they try to figure out how many times it happens. So I believe they get like 1. They get another one in like the 20s or 30s. And eventually they get one in the 70 millions. So as you go on, it like really.
So you're saying
really
142 happens at 123 and then 142 happens again?
No, not 142. So
just
basically,
the number
like,
1?
No.
Oh, then?
They're looking for when the position and the digit match. So if the 7th position has the number 7 in it, that's a positive result.
I see what you mean. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
so you're saying the 20th position has the numbers 2 and 0?
Yes.
20 and 21st?
Yeah.
But then how can you take that? If it's like, like say for instance, if you're in the 70 millions, then are you saying that
the next 70 million digits have to
be 7000000?
Like those 7 digits have to match, yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And well, it's when you hear this, you're like, what is the point of this? You're just playing a ridiculous game inside the number of pi for no particular real application, right? But then this guy talks about how the reason mathematicians do this a lot is because, well, A, it's just fun for them. This is how they goof off and enjoy. Like, basically, like, they sit around
you
and go like...
we were nerds. No.
Yeah, that's true nerdism, right? Like, I mean, like, this has always been a thing. Like, one of Ramanujan's biggest discoveries, well, the thing he's kind of known for is, like, he's like, this is the smallest number that can be expressed as the sum of 2 cubes. And when I first heard that, I was like, who gives a shit? Like, fine, I guess that's a thing. But the reason mathematicians put a lot of value on stuff like this, of course, Ramanujan did a bunch of other great stuff, but this is one of the quicker things he's known for, the smaller things he's known for. But the reason they do it is because in the process of discovering these things, they often end up working out new ways to do stuff in general. So essentially, like while playing a game, you discover something that has a huge real world application. And so that's what this particular mathematician gets into as well. The other amazing thing is you see this entire range of what mathematicians are like. Okay. Like, for example, I'm going to name now some of my favorite contributors to the channel because every video is different people. And I really, like, I've been following this channel for years at this point. Okay. My favorite, possibly, well, actually, I have a bunch. Oh my God, this is so hard to pick. Don't make me choose, Jigs. But there's a guy called Cliff Stoll, all right?
Jesus Christ, what is that?
Cliff Stoll is essentially... He's Doc Brown from Back to the Future. Okay. He's crazy. And when he talks about math, he's super into topology. And topology is essentially like the study of surfaces' mathematical properties. Okay. Where you basically go like, if you take a surface and then stretch it or squeeze it or like turn it around, what happens to it? You never like split a surface, but it's a complicated thing. If you watch any of his videos, he'll explain it.
I believe you.
In a spectacular way. But he's possibly like the most eccentric human ever. Like when you think crazy math professor, that's him. Like while he's talking about stuff, like he suddenly gets so excited that he's like, he literally starts jumping around. Or like he was once doing a demo where he was like, and then you'd have to set it on fire to find out. And then he just like starts looking around like a crazy guy and then picks up like a flame and lights the box in his hand on fire. Absolute nut job. So he's great. There's another great mathematician called Matt Parker, who is a stand-up comic and a mathematician, and his stand-up comedy is math-based. He's very funny in like
He
this.
better be. He sounds like the love child of Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Well, yeah, I guess I never thought about it that way. But yeah, he's another cool dude. He has his own channel called Stand Up Maths, where he does some stuff. And he just put out a book that I just picked up that I'm going to start reading called Humble Pie, which is about math errors in the real world that had like huge consequences. Really funny guy. This lady called Hannah Fry, who's amazing. This guy called James Grime. All very entertaining people. Should definitely check it out. And plus, I don't know if you learn anything. Like, I don't know if I'm any better at math than I was like 20 years ago.
Keep going. My inner monologue is escaping me.
Well,
Go on.
I'm just saying that I don't know if I've learned as much maths as I should have from this channel, because a lot of it, like, there's no kidding around here. It's not like they talk about simple stuff. They go into it. Like, they're talking about things that still haven't been solved in mathematics a lot of the time. Or they're explaining principles where sometimes they jump right into it and you can't follow it from minute one. You're like, I have no idea what's going on. I still watch it because I think if nothing else, it teaches you how to think about things mathematically. And that main first reason I said, which is like, it's always great to see people who are good at what they do and care about what they do, talk about what they do.
Oof. Yikes.
Check it out, Jigs. Number file.
My
Same
God,
guy also runs a bunch of other channels.
I need to catch my breath.
I do as well. So let's take a break and we'll come back with some more recommendations.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome, amazing week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, HDFC Life and Paytm Money. Sponsors make this stuff possible. If you work for a brand which you think would benefit from sponsoring the show on IVM, please do reach out to us. We appreciate that. We have 3 new shows releasing this week. Uncle Please Sit. It's a podcast where Tushar and Joel speak about and strip away the misinformation of fact-free opinions that we often encounter in public. Stay tuned for the first episode releasing this Monday, the 9th of March. We're starting a new podcast called Smile India, hosted by Shifa Maitra. This podcast is both in English and Hindi, and it tells us about the uplifting and positive news from around the country. Episodes drop every Monday and Thursday starting the 9th of March. And Absolutely Right is a graphology podcast. That's right, graphology. Host Aditi Surana deploys her superpower of handwriting analysis and unravels some traits and characteristics of guests, including me and a whole bunch of people from IVM who you're familiar with. Stay tuned for the first episode releasing this Wednesday on 11th of March. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by film, television, and theater actor Namit Das. They talk about working in the industry and him coming from a family of musicians. Also, guys, remember, this week, Cyrus Says celebrates his 500th episode. That's right, 500. I can't believe I'm saying those words. 500. Listen to us talk about it on Cock and Bull this Thursday. It's, 500. Last week on Cock and Bull, Cyrus, along with myself and Antarish, were joined by Shreyas Manohar. We discussed the global spread of coronavirus, how it relates to Indians hugging, and a lot more. This week on Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks with Amay Kulkarni, founder at Candor Investing, about forensic investments. On Ganatantra, Saryu and Alok are joined by Dr. Manisha Priyam of CFAR to talk about the politics of Delhi and the rise of the Aam Aadmi Party. On Beyond Cliché, Almas talks to fitness model Jyoti Solanki about bodybuilding as a sport and what stereotypes women face in it. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ayushi and Ritasha talk about coming of age and coming of age. On IVM Lives, Ritika, Alika and Antarish welcome new producer at IVM, Sumit, to discuss their ultimate fantasy jobs. Don't miss Sumit's first ever recommendation on the show. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
So those were our 2 recommendations from segment 1. Do you have another one for me,
I
Jigs?
do. I'm going to give you the exact same feeling of watching people being awesome at a thing that you have no idea about.
Ooh, I love it.
Are you a Queer Eye boy?
Yeah.
Yeah? How much have you seen?
I've seen the entire first season. You're talking about the revival, right?
Yeah, the revival.
Yeah. I never watched much of the original.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the original.
Yeah.
So I've seen like maybe
the first season, then I've
2
seen
or
like
3
bits and pieces of the others, but no, I haven't watched like every single one.
I came in whatever season they're at. I came in one season
They've done
before.
3, right?
I don't know.
And the one where they went to Japan?
Exactly. I came in one season before Japan. I saw that season and I saw Japan, and I'm in the middle of the first season again.
You're watching Next in Fashion?
I am watching Next in Fashion.
So you're going to tell me about Next in Fashion?
Have you seen Next in Fashion?
No, not yet.
Now here's the thing. The only reason I'm watching it, or the reason I started watching it, I've
Who's
just
your
finished
favorite
it.
Queer Eye boy?
Dan. Hence, I'm watching Next in
yeah?
Fashion. Yeah. But the reason I started watching
like
it
JV.
is because I have always, I think I've said this a couple of times on the show as well. I don't watch much reality TV at all, but there were 2 shows for the longest
I feel
time.
like I hear you talk about reality TV all the time.
Reality TV?
Yes.
What? Okay. About
you're
what?
a big Survivor boy?
No.
What?
I literally only have seen 2 shows, and I follow them very closely, and they've been off the air for a while. Actually, one of them might
Which
still be
are
on.
what?
The Amazing Race.
Oh, sorry, Amazing Race. Did I
And-
say Survivor? I
yeah.
meant Amazing Race.
Amazing Race.
Sorry.
Yes, I love that show.
Yeah,
and
correct.
Celebrity Apprentice.
Celebrity Apprentice. And another one you were telling me about once that you'd like watch at random all the time. I can't remember which, but I know you've definitely mentioned one. Cool. Go on.
Can't think of. Okay. Anyway, point is, I don't watch much reality TV, but I always was fascinated by The Amazing Race because as a filmmaker, I just can't. I'm dumbfounded by the production on that show, the logistical production of that show, and it's brilliant. Celebrity Apprentice, it was always amusing because obviously pre-President Trump, it was just hilarious to watch C and D-list celebrities like clamoring to be famous again. And that's just...
Is he very annoying on that show? I've never seen it.
He's barely in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's exactly...
I thought it was his show.
It's not... That's the thing. His name is on it, but like it's like his buildings. Like, yeah, his name is on it, but it's not really his building. So he's just in it to fire people and be like, he every show starts with he lands in a helicopter like he does every morning, everywhere he goes.
Of course.
And then he says, hi, here's the industry professional of the task at hand. Like if you're selling pizzas this week, here's the head of Domino's or whatever.
Right.
And then that guy gives the guy some gyan about what kind of stuff you should be making. Follow these D-list celebrities for an hour bumbling away and you get to watch hilarious fights of like Meatloaf versus Little John arguing about pepperoni pizza.
Yes.
Yeah. And that you watch that for an hour. That's why you watch the show. And then Trump shows up at the end and he fires somebody. Because that's easy.
That's like his catchphrase.
That's his phrase. You're fired. Like, cool. Yeah. You messed up the task, you're fired. It's not that hard to like do that. But anyway.
It's also the catchphrase of his government.
I haven't seen reality TV in a good couple of years. And then I got into Queer Eye and I loved it. And then because Stan is my boy, I was like, I've never seen a single fashion anything. I am completely fashion literate. But let me take a stab at it. I cannot recommend this show to people enough, not because of the fashion side of things.
Sure.
But they've somehow, I don't know if this is a first, it's a first for me as a complete reality TV noob. I've always been very averse to reality TV because I think there's enough... in the age of social media, there's enough bad news out there and enough people putting other people down or like passive aggressively just being like, look at how good I am, even though that's not really true.
Yeah.
So there's so much stuff already out there that can be a downer for people that the notion of watching, like what reality TV is voyeuristic, right? It's just like watching people make asses out of themselves and you feel better about yourself because you're not in that shitty position or I'm not as bad as these guys.
Yes.
That's a lot of reality TV. And that's why I was very averse to it.
Voyeurism and a lot of schadenfreude. Have you not heard this term before?
No.
That's what defines, I think, most social media. But basically, it's taking joy in others' misery. It's a German word.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So here's what I loved about Next in Fashion. And the reason I was able to finish it as quickly as I did is because it's a pretty standard system. It's Dan France and Alexa Cheng. Cheng. Let's go with Cheng.
Alexa.
I don't know who she is, but she's cool. Anyway, so two of them hosting a show, 18 contestants who every week have to make a new, like one or two pieces of clothing, and there's a runway show at the end of it, and then somebody gets kicked out. Pretty straightforward.
Right.
Nothing elaborate about that. Now, of course, all the shop talk that happens goes completely over my head. I don't know the first thing about hems and this and that and all the words. I don't know anything
hems
about
and haws, I believe.
Yeah. But here's the best part.
Yeah.
Here's why I love it. Much in the vein of Queer Eye, which is such an uplifting, feel-good show.
Definitely, yeah.
So is this. I've never seen a show where you're at the elimination table, right? Like you're at the who's going to get the rose or like who gets kicked off of Survivor Island. You're at that point of the episode every time. And instead of people like in The Apprentice, which was so full of like friggin' vengeance and like, you messed up the order, you should be fired, you are dumb, no, I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Is that your Meatloaf impression?
Yes. I'm going to throw you under the bus and I'm going to drive the bus myself.
Yeah.
This is great because it's like, while people are working on tasks, they go to their opponent's table and be like, how are you guys doing? Oh, I'm doing good, but I don't know about the sleeve. Oh, you should totally do that thing to the sleeve. I was like, whoa, you're helping the enemy? And then at the end of it, when they get kicked out, there's the standard like, how you feeling? You just been removed from the show. I feel like I'm a winner. I have made so many friends. There's a really cute Korean auntie in that show.
Nice.
I've made so many friends and I think I'm really the winner here and there are no losers and I am just walking away with so much happiness and self-esteem and belief in myself. Like, this is amazing.
It's a positive show.
It's a positive
reality show.
It's a positive reality show. Like, I'm not watching it at all rooting for people. I'm watching it just to be like, Or rather, I'm not watching it rooting for somebody over somebody else. I'm just watching it for you go, girls, all of you. And it's so good. It's just a really nice, it's just a fun time. Like, I couldn't care less about the clothes. I
totally understand that.
I couldn't care less about the clothes.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm fully in it. I'm just like, I'm going to feel good about myself now. While watching these people shine at what they're doing, even though I don't understand the first thing about what it is that they're doing. The clothes at the end of the day look cool, but I'm like, I'm never gonna wear this stuff. It's freaking like runway.
Because
like,
you're not gonna wear it.
Yeah. But it's all like, you know, red carpet looks and stuff like that. So I have no barometer of how good or bad that side of things are. But I couldn't care because I'm just so happy watching them feel proud of themselves and supporting each other and not being cutthroat. It's a competition.
Yeah.
No edge of like, screw that guy, or I'm going to screw him over, or any of that. It's just like, we're all in this together, we're all going to have fun. And yeah, there's like a little bit of drama of like, oh no, I'm not going to finish in time today. Yeah. Cool, but that's a you problem. It's not like you're, you know, trying to put somebody else down, which is just a feat. Now, like I said at the top of this, I don't watch reality TV, so I don't know if this is the first or not. Maybe there are other shows out there like this.
If there are, in fact, I was going to say, I would love to hear. I
would love to know some.
I completely know what you're talking about, and I haven't watched Next in Fashion yet. But I think it's a similar vibe to the Great British Bake Off, one of my favorite reality shows. But essentially the same thing. It's like it's got such a nice energy to it because nobody's angry at the other person. Nobody's like trying to undercut anyone else. The judges aren't dicks, Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood.
What?
They're the judges.
Is her name Mary Berry?
Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood, and it's their real names as far as I know. And like there are multiple presenters, but like Noel Fielding is among them now. Sandy Tosquick, who also does QI. They're just like cool, all like British presentation royalty, really.
I'll say though, I do. I mean, it's baseless. Well, not totally baseless, but I have an aversion to food.
If it was baseless, then you do terribly on the Bake Off because you need a good base to make a good cake. Anyway, go on.
Okay then. I have an aversion to food shows.
Why?
Just because I get way too hungry. I'm just like, no, I can't do this.
Well, you should eat and then watch them. But
yeah, that's the thing. I don't want my show to come with a prerequisite.
It's all baking, which I think is slightly different. Like for some reason, and it's all. Well, I've never seen.
You know,
actually, you're right.
The only food thing I've ever seen properly, like genuinely, has been Favreau's Chef Show. Sure. Because I've seen his movie Chef a million times. It's one of my favorite ever. And two, I watched it because there were 2 episodes where the Avengers were on it, and there was one episode where freaking Dave Filoni was on it.
Right.
Post the release of Mandalorian, or just in the run-up of Mandalorian. So I was watching the 2 titans in the same room making pasta.
Yeah.
And I couldn't care less about the pasta, but I was like, I will be ravenous and consume any content that these 2 put together. But
I think you might enjoy them. I watch a ton of cooking stuff, by the way.
I just can't do it. I'm just like, no, I don't.
I had a similar moment where another...
It's painful. It actually hurts. I'm just like, my stomach growling is distracting me.
On a YouTube show I watched called Binging with Babish, Jon Favreau makes an appearance, and that to me was like a big deal. Like it felt like your Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni moment. Yeah, like Binging with Babish is like really popular now. He's like a legend on YouTube. But yeah, so in fact, like he does this little thing where you remember in Chef when he does like the pasta aglio olio and he twirls it up. He plates it using a meat fork, like that giant fork thingy.
Yes. I think
so they do this episode of Binging with Babish at Jon Favreau's house, and Babish actually has a tattoo of that thing because one of his most popular videos was recreating that scene from Chef. Shit. So Binging with Babish, by the way, his entire deal is he recreates foods from movies and TV shows. So it could be something like ridiculously over the top, like the Excellent Challenge from the regular show, which is a cartoon, which is basically like they randomly name like a bunch of stuff where in the context of the regular show, it's supposed to be like an eating challenge where there's 16 eggs in this and like all the sorts of other stuff. And he actually makes it. And sometimes they're terrible and sometimes they're really good, like when he recreates the stuff from Chef. And he does like regular cooking stuff as well. Anyway, so he has a tattoo of that, of the...
Awesome.
Meat fork cleaver thing. Jon Favreau sees it and he's like, this is crazy. Why do you have that? And he's like, it was my first YouTube video that blew up and I really like the movie as well. And Jon Favreau's like, that's amazing. Hold on a sec. He walks off and he comes back with the thing. He's like, this is the actual plot. I want you to have it.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So have you seen the episode where Gwyneth Paltrow is on his show?
Yes.
Were you as butthurt as I was?
Why? Because of her Spider-Man thingy?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I just thought it was funny. But I remember like it became
I was morally offended.
I felt like
it wasn't funny in the slightest.
It's Gwyneth Paltrow. She's busy like running a company and selling candles that smell like her vagina.
Then don't get into my favorite franchise. Second favorite.
Well, let her do what she wants.
No.
She runs
Not
the
allowed.
world anyway.
Not allowed.
All right. So yeah, these were our recommendations. Some interesting reality show recommendations there. But I will close it out with a more, since we started with a movie, I'm going to close with a TV show. I think everyone should be watching The Good Place. And by be watching, I mean, I suppose, finish watching because it recently concluded its run. It did 4 seasons. And Mike Schur, the showrunner, basically took the call to end it because he was like, I'm telling a very finite story, I think, and I don't want to push it past what I want to say. And
is Mike Schur the Parks and Rec boy?
He is, yes.
What else?
A bunch of stuff. Like him and Dan Goer have been creating stuff for ages together. So essentially, like their verse is your Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec, The Office.
Yep.
They all kind of come from that same creative.
So I haven't seen a single episode. Is Good Place fall into that?
Well, yes,
Engine.
I would say it's a lot like some of the other shows he's done. Like one thing I would say, based off of Parks and Rec and this alone, and even shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and all, what these guys have consistently done is make shows where the main characters are all like really nice, good people. So maybe that's the through line for this episode. We just like things with nice people in them, Jake.
Yes.
So The Good Place is essentially like, well, the premise is that Kristen Bell and the 3 other key characters die. And when they begin, they meet Ted Danson at the start of the series, I mean, in season 1. Ted Danson's like, you're dead. Welcome. Everything is fine. He literally says that. And my name is Michael, and I kind of run this place. There's a good place and a bad place. So the good place is essentially like supposed to be heaven, right? Like they don't say it as such, but they're recreating a new kind of mythology. And he's like, congratulations, you're in the good place. But Kristen Bell in particular is like, oh, cool, that's amazing. And she meets like this monk, and she meets this philosophy professor, and she meets like the socialite, and they're all like amazing people. And she, at the end of the first episode of The Good Place, says, oh my God, I was a terrible person. I don't think I'm meant to be here. And then like a lot of stuff happens over the course of these 4 seasons, including like some of the most mind-blowing moments in television history, I would say. Like the end of the first season is possibly one of the greatest reveals ever. So if you don't know about it, like after 3 years also, avoid it and go watch it. But it's possibly one of the most...
Is it how many episodes in a season? How many minutes?
It's your typical, like, it's a TV sitcom. So it's like a 20-minute, 22 episodes kind of season.
22? Oh, damn it. Okay. You had me at 20.
20 minutes.
And
but
then you had
like,
to go 22.
It's a great watch, and you can watch it like over time as well. But yeah, really just an incredible show. And they really stuck the landing, which I've really...
Parks and Rec wasn't a 22, was it? It was like a 10 and a 13, I thought. Or was it 22?
See, Parks and Rec season 1 and 2 were shorter. Like season 1 was like 6 episodes. Season 2 was around 13.
Yeah.
Because like it was brought in as a mid-season replacement for another show.
Cool.
But yeah, The Good Place should be watched. I feel like this is a show that has actually possibly... like, it can turn people into better people. So, yeah, that's our final recommendation for today.
I'm all about it.
Tell us what you guys have been up to. Write into us at contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. This has been the Geek Fruit Podcast.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.